Hey guys, welcome to Build Your Arsenal. I'm Chris Barton, and I wanted to give you guys just kind of one of the intro things into me, which is actually my own journey with my depression. For all intents and purposes, I'm not your categorical person that when they look like, oh, are they sad, are they this, or are they that, are they detached? For me, I'm pretty high functioning. And what that looks like is me, I'm a very outgoing individual, but within all of that, I can make a lot of friends, but there is just this inner monologue that I've created over the years that was a very negative mindset. And the more negative that it got, I just feel this depression that like kind of goes in to where I could be hanging out with people and be absolutely happy and everyone thinks everything's okay. And then the moment I'm away and the moment I'm with myself, it's just hatred towards myself. It was just this loathing. So all of that actually began when I was in middle school. It wasn't one event. It was actually just kind of this buildup of all these different little things that happened in my life. And the main thing around all of that was actually rejection. And so that has actually been like the real trigger for a lot of my depression, is when I start thinking of all these different things and I feel like I'm a failure. Anytime I've ever felt like a failure has been the biggest thing for me, because I'm so high strung, almost like a perfectionist in some things, that I would never attempt something because I was afraid that I was going to fail at it. And so when I was younger, it was relationships. I would try to ask out girls, they'd say, I like you, but... And that was just one of those things that it kept fueling this negative mindset that I had of myself, that was, you're not good enough. And I just kept building on these negative things and started adding these like different titles to the fire, and it just got really, really bad in middle school. In high school, it got a little bit better, largely due to the fact that at the end of 8th grade, I got my first arsenal, which is one of the first chapters, or the main arsenals that we talk about, which is faith. And we're not going to go into that too much in this video, but we will go into it later. So I got that one, and then it made it a little bit better throughout high school, but I still had the same thing. A lot of times with sports and stuff like that, now you get into competitive sports where they start telling you that you are not good enough. And for me, baseball was my life. All of my friends made varsity and I didn't. I was a little bit smaller of a kid, but again, a lot of it was my own fault. I never put in the effort. I never worked out. I never did anything like that. I just assumed that I was going to be with my friends, and the moment I didn't, it really had an impact on me. And I started doing this comparison, which is a terrible thing to do. Rather than developing the skills within myself, I kept looking at, oh, they're so much better, I'll never be as good as them. And not putting in the effort or the attempts into kind of building it in myself, because I had no self-confidence in who I was. And the same thing goes with relationships. I got into a serious relationship at the end of high school. I was about 17 years old. When that fell apart, I had this negative identity because I had put so much of myself into somebody else and what they viewed about me, that when that all came apart, I had this moment once again where I was just in a very dark place for that. And college was a whole nother story, because once you get done with high school, you're like, all right, finally, things are going to get better. But it just kept returning in the same old fashion and the same old triggers, because I just never actually dealt with it. I was so afraid that I was going to do something harmful like I thought I was going to do in middle school, that I never faced it, because I thought that would actually make it worse. And that's so not true. That facing it is the only way to kind of actually deal with it. And I got into another really serious relationship when I was about 21, 22 years old. And then I thought I was going to marry this girl because she is absolutely amazing. But things didn't work out, and the rejection came when it was told that she was actually talking with somebody else or interested in somebody else. And so it reaffirmed a lot of things that I used to believe about myself, or still to, in many aspects, believe about myself, that I'm not good enough. And so over the next 6-7 years, that has been one of the things where I just wouldn't try anything. I was super protective of who I was. I didn't get involved in a lot of relationships because I realized that the next person that I fall in love with could absolutely destroy me. So I did end up getting married to an individual, and then we ended up getting divorced, and the same thing happened. About 2.5 years into the marriage, she started feeling like she no longer wanted to be a part of the marriage, and she went out in a different way and sought someone else out. She went back with an old boyfriend and started seeing some other people in different locations. And I thought, man, that was going to destroy me. And it didn't. Because over that course of that time, I had developed a whole series of other things. I was a wreck, don't get me wrong, but it didn't destroy me. Largely due to the fact that there are so many other things that I had added into my mindset. There were so many things that I added into my community of friends, my support network, my nutrition, my health, exercise, that when I started doing all of this, all of the negativity in my mind actually started going away. Not permanently, I just was able to fight back effectively. And what I thought would have absolutely destroyed me, because it had destroyed me in middle school, it destroyed me in high school, it destroyed me in college and as a young adult. And I thought, man, like, this is it. Like, I'm not where I'm at, where I thought I was going to be. I was living in Kansas at the time, in which I really didn't want to be there, but I was there for her and her career. And when things all fell apart, I was absolutely surprised that my depression didn't really come back. I was heartbroken. I was devastated that I was losing my marriage, but I wasn't in a depressive state. I was moving out of it. And my depression, I got to realize, was something that you can manage through a whole series of practices. That it's one of those things that I just got to teach young people about, and I'm super vocal about it. My kids all get these stories on the very first day of school. And so it's very open that I'm able to talk to them about what I am, what I live for, and actually what I live with, which is my depression. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of backstory on that, so you guys have a better idea who I am, so that as you're watching these videos, you're just like, well, he always looks happy. But it's because of these different things. I will be honest and expose some of the different things, because while I'm off traveling, I am absolutely positive I'm probably going to be homesick from time to time, and there's going to be one of those videos on that, because I know it's going to happen. But the truth of the matter is, this is a big challenge for me in different ways to kind of set out and do some things that are a little bit different. But I've become so comfortable, and I've looked at a lot of different things, and I've had amazing relationships with other human beings that have developed these great strengths in me, that I'm actually finally able to go out and do that. And so I'm glad you guys are along for the journey. If this story connected with you in any way, I hope you feel like you're not alone, that you can get through with it, that those moments where you're just smiling and you feel like you're faking it for everybody else, but the moment you get back inside and everything crashes for you, there's hope for that. There's things that you're going to be able to do. There's things we're going to discuss and we're going to talk about that you guys are able to do to manage that and actually improve your states of well-being so that it actually doesn't affect you. So I hope you guys stick along for the journey as these things come along throughout the months and weeks to come. And I'm excited to kind of bring those stories to you guys. Love you guys. Have a great day.